Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum once again, my dear students. Welcome to Journalistic Writing. In my last few classes, we all talked about importance of writing and qualities of good writers. And we studied, different characteristics and different concerns, which writers take care of and exhibit while doing, messaging. And today, we'll talk about the qualities of good writing. To begin with, I'd like to start with a small story that once there was an auction going on, and the hall was all jam-packed with people from different walks of life. That was a very good day for the auctioneer. Why? Because the crowd was really good and he was having a very nice time with them. That afternoon, he had spent auctioning some very fine, works of art, and now he was a bit tired as well. But there was one item left, and that was violin. The auctioneer, took a look of that violin, and since the violin was, battered and scarred, little shabby actually, little rusty too, so he felt perhaps it was a wastage of time, going for it, but he had to. So he took hold of it and with a smile, asked people, how should I, go with it for? $1? Who would go for $2? And a voice came $2 and then $3. While they were going for the dollars, and it was just the $3 for that, rusty violin, an old man, white-haired old man, sitting somewhere the backside of the hall, he stood up and slowly marched towards the podium, reached there, and with no word out of his mouth, extended his hand towards the auctioneer. The auctioneer, with respect and honor, handed over that violin to that old man. The old man took hold of the violin and the bow, wiped the dust from the violin, tightened up the strings, set the pegs, kissed the bow, and positioned that violin at his, chin, and let the horsehair kiss the violin and played, a little tune. A very sweet, very pure melody he played, as pure as angels could play. And then, he handed that violin back to the auctioneer and left the hall. The auctioneer, with low voice, again addressed the audience and said, how now should I go with it? And said, $1,000. And who would go for $2? A voice came, $2,000. And who would make it $3? Another voice, $3,000. And this is how, going and gone. The crowd cheered, and some of them cried. They cried, what changed the worth of the violin? And a swift reply came, the touch of the master's hand. So let's, my dear students, today also, we give the same touch of master's hands to our writing. Let's see different masters, what they talk about, the qualities of good writing, how they view it, and how they advise us we go for it. First of all, our first master, which I would like to quote, is H.W. Fowler. From the book, The King's English, what he talks about, what writing should be. Let's take a look of it. Anyone who wishes to produce a good writing should endeavor, before he allows himself to be tempted by the more showy qualities, to be direct, simple, brief, vigorous, and lucid. H.W. Fowler, what he says? Be direct, simple, brief, vigorous, and lucid in your writing. To give you another refined version from H.W. Fowler, in his own words, so that, you could really have a better idea, when he talks about all these features. Let's take another look of the same, saying, but through different words, rather very practical approach through. H.W. Fowler says, prefer the familiar word to the far-fetched. Familiar word to the far-fetched. Now, familiar words are those which are common, playgrounds for me and for you. Word, which I know, word which you know. Let's communicate by using those words. And far-fetched, maybe my specialist vocabulary or maybe your specialist vocabulary. Maybe me belonging to some ABC discipline, you belonging to XYZ discipline, and we not knowing each other, but we have to find out a common, playground where, we could play. So simple and familiar and far-fetched. Second, prefer the concrete word to the abstract. Concrete means more specific, narrowed down. A word which expresses exactly what meanings are in writer's mind. Number 3, prefer the single word to the circumlocution. Here, he means one-word substitution. Words which are split, words which are in phrasal form, word, which is composed of more than one word to convey one single meaning. Avoid. One-word substitution, prefer. Number 4, prefer the short word to the long. Now here he says, short word. Now short word means, look, can be monosyllabic, can be bisyllabic. But long word, trisyllabic. Stay away. Prefer mono, prefer bi. That's, better. Easy to understand. And of course will be more familiar. And then prefer the Saxon word to the Romance. Don't go to Old English. Stay modern, stay contemporary. So you see, this is how H.W. Fowler, gives you some preferences which you can follow and can polish, your writings. Our next master now, let's move towards him. He's Gower and the company. Let's see what he says about, the qualities of good writing. Writing should be terse, simple, and direct, and should avoid the use of the unusual, long-winded, stilted, and circumlocutory phrases and words. Now, what Gower says is, be terse, be simple, and be direct. No unusual, no long-winded, no stilted, and no circumlocutory phrases and words. Let's move towards our third master from On Writing Well, Dr. William. Let's see what he says about good writing. The secret of good writing is to strip every sentences to its cleanest components. I really want your attention here. The secret of good writing is to strip every sentence to its cleanest components. Every word that serves no function, every long word that could be a short word, every adverb, what carries the same meanings that is already in the verb, every passive construction that leaves the reader unsure of who is doing what. These are 1001 adulterants that weaken the strength of a message. Next master is Loren Kessler. Let's, take advice from, the words. Our society of the globe depends on clear, concise, and honest communication. Unless you master language skills, information gathering, organization and style, your work will fall short of what this society needs. And now next, master for the advice comes Gunning from the Wall Street Journal. He actually gave us, 10 cardinal, principles to follow. They are highly practical in nature, and you would see rather, they encompass all the words of the great masters and present, he presents in more functional and, practical form, so that, we could really see as handy, pieces of advice. Let's see what he says. Keep your sentences short on the average, number 1. Rule number 2, what he says is, prefer the simple to the complex. Now here we are talking about sentences. Prefer the simple to the complex. Number 3, prefer the familiar word and avoid unnecessary words. Number 4, put action in your verbs. Number 5, write the way you talk. Number 6, use terms your reader can picture. Number 7, tie in with your reader's experience. Number 8, make full use of variety. And number 9, write to express, not to impress. Now, the last but not the least, there also you will find that, the advice is more practical, more functional. Same words translated into your and my, very clear-cut understanding of the quality of good writing. Let's take a look. Ideas that are interesting and important. Organization that is logical and effective. Voice that is individual and appropriate. Now here, voice means how the writer feels to someone when they read it. Is it formal or casual? Is it friendly and inviting, or reserved and standoffish? And the next one is word choice that is specific and memorable. And the second last is sentence fluency that is smooth and expressive. And the last one, conventions that are correct and communicative. Now here, conventions actually means, let's say your punctuation, spelling, grammar, and other things that make writing consistent and easy to read. Now, you have seen, my dear students, different masters of the craft talking about, different characteristics and qualities of good writing. Some would, emphasize the importance of clarity. Some would go for conciseness. Some would go for the organization, of your piece. Some would talk about the language level. Some would, talk about, its contemporary form and all. So if we pluck all these flowers which different, advisors talked about, then we can see that out of all these golden words, we can shortlist 5 or 6 characteristics. Then we'll base our lecture on. Like out of all these pieces, number 1, and I would say very, very important quality for writers to exhibit in their writing is clarity. Number 2, conciseness. Number 3, concreteness. And number 4, coherence. And number 5, correctness. And number 6, completeness. Let's now move towards what clarity is and what actually we mean by clarity and how to introduce this quality, into our writing. Clarity actually is the sense of ease with which readers read your writing. It's basically a gift which you offer to your readers. No matter what is your subject of discussion, it may range from simple to complicated, doesn't matter. What requisite you have to, follow in your writing is that you are going to make that subject, make the language of that subject as easy as possible. Because you're not writing for yourself. You're writing it for someone who is going to read it. Not just read it. He'll understand it. Not just understand it. He'll, of course, interpret. Now, interpretation means, that, of course, is the, I would say, climax of the job that writer's meanings and reader's meanings, match. And how you can do it? Of course, by introducing this very quality, which we call clarity in your writing. Readers will be very easily able to understand your messages, and the purpose, will be served. Now, let's move towards what actually clarity is all about. Clarity actually is the name of 4 practical things. Number 1, clarity means, or we can achieve clarity by following these 4 points. Number 1, use familiar, short, and conversational words. Principle number 1. Don't forget it, keep in your mind. I repeat, use short, familiar, and conversational words in your writing. Principle number 2, construct effective sentences and paragraphs. This is our principle number 2. First, words we talked about, and second we are talking about is the sentence making and the paragraph construction. Okay, principle number 3, achieve appropriate readability. And principle number 4, use examples, illustrations, and any other visual aid which is desirable. Now, these are 4 principles following which you can attain clarity. The first principle I gave you is use short, familiar, and conversational words. Let's discuss that briefly. Then I'll show you some examples. We'll discuss with each other what words are short and what are not, what are conversational and familiar, and what are, not familiar, not conversational. First of all, short words. Look, we can have 3, generally speaking, 3, sizes of words. Like the first one, we say monosyllabic. For example, write, the word write, W-R-I-T-E. Now, this is monosyllabic word. If I, add ing with it, writing, no, this is bisyllabic word. There are 2 syllables in it. Now, just to give you a very rough understanding of syllable, not going down to some technical aspects of it, syllable actually is a break inside a word. Like when we say write, so r and t, and inside we find, one joining force, right. In writing, we find 2 breaks actually. One is right after r, the next one is after t. So bisyllabic. This is how, like, we go for the size. This is how we increase the size, If I give you another example for trisyllabic word, that would be, let's say, beautiful. Now, in it, you find more than 2 syllables. So this is how the word size increases. For very simple reasons, monosyllabic words, of course, are easily understandable. They are very commonly picked up and used in our conversation. Bisyllabic too. Well, there is a question that makes your writing complicated. But please keep in mind, not all trisyllabic words are difficult. Sometimes there are some bi or monosyllabic, words which may be more difficult than trisyllabic, but, mostly we find trisyllabic entries very, very complicated. Then we say familiar, as I mentioned, minutes before, that familiar words are words which are commonly used with each other. Word, I mentioned, common platform, the same thing. Word which I also use, which you also use, which are not subject specialist word, or you can say which is not technical phraseology, Okay. And the third, I said conversational words, as people say, write the way you talk. So this is what actually, I can say about use conversational words. Now, these 3 should be the characteristics of the word choice. Now, I'm going to give you one example. There you'll see on your screen after a while that in one column, I'll give you, familiar words, and second column, I'll give you, you can say, uncommon, translations, which are also, being used by people. So they say, like, when you have an easy word available, why then going for a difficult word? What pleasure is there in using uncommon, complicated, word? What you are actually trying to, of course, the main purpose behind is, communicate, give the sense of ease to your reader. Why, to put him in difficulty. Now, on your screen, you would see 2 columns. The left column, I've written the word familiar. The right column, I've written pretentious, means uncommon translation. Words which are uncommon, okay? Same, meanings are same. Left and right meanings are same. Left are easy choices, right, difficult choices. If I read it for you, about, quite familiar word, but this is also available in uncommon dressing, circa. Now, just imagine, like, you find somewhere written circa 1980 or about 1980. Obviously, you will go for the later one. Oh, yeah, about 1980 is, better choice. I can easily understand what this circa stuff is. Please keep one very important thing. That, when your readers, they put your writing aside and go for the dictionary. Why? Because, you have used some uncommon words, difficult words. What happens? They lose their stream of thought. Once it's lost, what happens? You are losing your readers. Therefore, don't use such words. Yeah, if unavoidable, that's all right, Yeah, you're right when you say, well, if there are no choices, fine, I agree with you. But when you have choices, prefer short, familiar, conversational. Otherwise, you are going to lose your readers completely. Please come back again onto your screen. Another familiar word, after, and its uncommon translation available, subsequent. Why not going for announce? Why to use promulgate? Who would understand what promulgate is when you have an easy entry available, announce? Next one, error, and it inadvertency, for example. And then E.G. we write home, house, domicile, pay, remuneration. That is, again, I.E. Abbreviation, Y to go for, use and utilization. So this I try to explain the difference between short and long word, familiar and unfamiliar, conversational and not conversational words. So try, to follow this principle. Your writing will, of course, go and give and offer your readers that very sense of ease which I was talking about. Now, the second important point. Now we are moving towards our second principle, which is what? Can you recall? Oh yes, you're right. Construct effective sentences and paragraphs. Now, we really need to understand what effective sentences and paragraphs are. Well, there are 4 features of effective sentences and paragraphs. Number 1, the length of sentences. Interesting point, I'll explain you. Number 2, unity. Number 3, coherence. And number 4, emphasis. Now, I said the length. Well, sentences, if you know the definition of a sentence, well, it's a subject and predicate. And then we expand sentences by using or introducing modifiers into our, basic clauses. And then you have, types of structures available. And this is how your sentences, keep on expanding and expanding and expanding. As far as length of a sentence is concerned, the masters of the craft say a sentence, an ideal sentence, its average length should be 17 to 20 words. What I said? 17 to 20 words. Not more than that. Average, please. I'm not saying that every sentence should be of 17 to 20. Please don't, misunderstand. What I'm saying is average sentence. When there are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences, put them together, take the average and see 17 to 20 words. Please don't forget this. Now, range. Range is 3 to 30. 3 to 30. Now, let's put these two things together. What I'm saying is that some sentences can be of 3-word length, some can be of 30-word length, some can be of 15, some can be of 10, 20, 7, this is how. But when you take up the average, it should be 17 to 20. This is what the rule is. Now, if your sentence crosses 30, any sentence crosses 30 words, reaches, let's say, 40 words, what to do? Well, split your sentence into 2. No other option. Is it clear? That if your sentence length reaches 40 words, advisable thing is divide that 40-word sentence into 2. Now, this is your average sentence length and the range. Now, come down to unity. What is unity? Unity means oneness. One single idea in one sentence. And the same way, one single idea in your paragraph. Oh yeah, you might be wondering, excuse me, single idea in one paragraph? Oh yeah, yes, one single idea in paragraph. Now, a paragraph, supposing, your paragraph is of 3 to 4, sentences. Now, please keep in mind, every paragraph has one topic sentence, okay? And other sentences are sportive details. One topic sentence and the remainings are sportive details. Let's say you are talking about, benefits of private vehicles. So in that paragraph, there will be one topic sentence, which we say as the purpose, which we say as the main idea, and the remainings are sportive details. Please keep in mind, sportive details have to be in very close association with the topic sentence. So there I mean that sentence, one single idea, paragraph, one single idea. That we call as the unity. Number 3, coherence. Coherence means organization of your sentences. If I talk about the sentence, then organization of the words inside the sentence. If I talk about paragraph, then organization across the sentences. We roughly call it horizontal organization and vertical organization. Words, well connected, well organized for sentences. Sentences, well connected, well organized for paragraphs. So this is how, we talk about coherence. And the last one is emphasis. A sentence can have two clauses in it, in the form of major and minor. And of course, you know that emphasis or the stress has to be on the major idea. Now, I'll show you the same details with the help of a slide so that you could really understand. And I'll, of course, give you some examples as well. Let's now take a look on your screen. As you can see, on your screen, I have written length. As I talked about, that average sentence length, 17 to 20 words, and range, 3 to 30 words or more. But please keep in mind, not more than 40 words. Unity, oneness, and please go through this example and see whether there is unity or not. I like Tom, and the Eiffel Tower is in Paris. I like Tom, and the Eiffel Tower is in Paris. Now, in this sentence, that I like Tom, and the Eiffel Tower is in Paris, you can see no head, no tail. I mean, they are all together, different ideas put together in a sentence, technically wrong. No unity. Even these two should not, as main topics, sit in one paragraph. Let's go back again to the screen and see the next two elements. Coherence. Now, on your screen, you can find two sentences numbered as 1 and 2. Inside first sentence, you find some different versions available. Like the first one, if I read it for you, before sentence. I mean, a sentence before here means, a sentence which has no coherence. Let's take a look. Being an excellent lawyer, I'm sure you can help us. I repeat, being an excellent lawyer, I'm sure you can help us. Now, look here. Excellent lawyer is a value word. It has to go for somebody. And now there are two actors in it. One is I and you. In this sentence, you can see being an excellent lawyer, I'm sure you can help us. So one is the value, being an excellent lawyer, and second is I and you. Now, question is, who is an excellent lawyer? I or you? What the sentence actually suggests is that what you want to say is that you are an excellent lawyer and you can help us. So when you write I, right after being an excellent lawyer, then I takes the value. Then it means that I'm not a lawyer, but I then become a lawyer, whereas lawyer you are. Please go back to the screen and see the better versions. Being an excellent lawyer, I'm sure you can help us. The same we can rewrite for coherence as you are an excellent lawyer, I'm sure you can help us. Now see, the value goes to the right person. Or it can have another version, being an excellent lawyer, you can surely help us. Now, one more example. His report was about managers broken down by age and sex. Now, this sentence also suggests that perhaps managers, those managers who are advanced in years, who are old now, plus their gender. Whereas what we wanted to say perhaps is that the report has been divided into, let's say, their seniority and their gender. Let's see the better versions. His report focused on age and sex of managers, or his report about managers focused on their age and sex. And the last point of effective sentence and paragraph, emphasis. As I told you before, emphasis is the stress point when you have two ideas, major, minor, okay? Stress has to be on the major one, not minor. At times, by mistake, what we do is actually both of the clauses in a sentence we present in a way that both of them carry equal stress. If the stress or emphasis is equal, it actually means that no stress. I mean, if there are two clauses, it enjoys same stress, then it means the stress is neutralized. Then what is major, what is minor? Not clear. Let's go back, to the example and try to understand what actually emphasis is. The airplane finally approached the speed of sound, and it became very difficult to control. I repeat, the airplane finally approached the speed of sound, and it became very difficult to control. Reading this sentence, suggests us that this sentence is a compound one. Emphasis equal on the both parts. But the interesting thing is, if you reread this sentence closely and see that fine, the clauses are equal, both are independent, but idea, I believe, is not independent. I mean, the structure which writer has given to you is, of course, compound. Compound means, two clauses equal in importance. Both are independent, both can stand alone, whereas the idea which this sentence gives to us is that one, cause and effect, to say. One is a cause and second is an effect. And of course, effect is the major idea, not the cause, right or not? So we have to find out how to, correct this. We have to find out which one is the cause and which one is the effect. Effect has to be emphasized, and cause, bring it down from independent to maybe dependent clause. Let's take a look. Approaching the speed of sound is the cause, right? Airplane approached the speed of sound, and what happened? It was difficult for the pilot to control the airplane, right? It was difficult for the pilot to control the airplane becomes, the effect. So the sentence goes this way. As it finally approached the speed of sound, the airplane became very difficult to control. Now here, emphasis goes on to the result of this whole, action. The airplane became very difficult to control. This becomes independent clause. This becomes your major idea, and emphasis is very much on it. And how we have reduced the emphasis on the previous clause by adding as, which is, a conjunction we use to make complex sentences. In complex sentences, we have one dependent and one, independent clause. In complex sentences, as you know, we have two clauses, one dependent and one independent. don't worry, we are going to study types of sentences in detail in the next few classes. Now, let's move on to our third principle of clarity, which is approach or gain appropriate readability for your readers. Now, what is readability actually? Readability basically is word and sentence ratio. Please, little more attention. Readability is word and sentence ratio, which writers try according to the education level of their readers. This is something very important to understand. Readability. Word and sentence ratio according to the education level of your readers. Now, there are different methods to measure readability. One very common and quite familiar method to measure readability is Fogg Index Guide. In Fogg Index Guide, what we do actually, of course, I'll give you different details and I'll discuss other 3-4 methods of measuring readability with you. But what we do actually in Fogg and like other methods, we count the number of words, we count the number of sentences, we count, let's say, the number of hard words in a paragraph. In some methods of readability measure, we count the number of syllables also. Let's first go through all these methods of measuring readability, and then we'll focus on Fogg Index Guide, and I'll elaborate, this readability measure with the help of, one example as well. Let's, go back to our screen and see what different types of readability measures are and how do we, measure them. This is something very important. And before we, go, please keep one thing in mind, that this readability measures, they do not give you perfect understanding that your message will be read. That's no guarantee. But to a large extent, yes, they really help you a lot. In newspapers also, magazines also, they do apply, readability indexes to find out or to have an idea or to predict about will their message be read and understood or not. Please come back onto your screen and take a look of, different methods. Number 1. This was invented by Robert Gunning in 1952. This method gives the US school grade necessary for comprehension of text. How we calculate, how we measure Fogg Index Guide. We do it by calculating, by adding together the average number of words. Average number of words per sentence means count the number of words, divide them by number of sentences. That becomes average number of words per sentence. And then percentage of words with more than 3 syllables. Now here it means you have counted total number of words, you have counted total number of sentences. Okay. Now count how many words are 3 or more than 3 syllabic. Let's say out of 100 words, let's say you find 15 or 20 words are 3 syllabic. As I have already explained you that trisyllabic, for example, beautiful, is a trisyllabic word. Words of this sort, they are three-syllabic words. So count three-syllabic. And then multiply the sum by 0.4. That becomes, the readability. Dear students, in Fog Index Guide, they say that range of this index is 6 to 16. I mean, your answer after counting this all is 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 or 16, okay? But they say if the result is more than 12, it means your writing is towards difficulty. I mean, it is difficult paragraph. It's difficult writing. Readability is low. So this is how. Let's go back to the screen and see our second method. SMOG index stands for simple measure of gobbledygook. This is calculated by multiplying the total number of words in text by 30. Multiply total number of words in text by 30. Dividing the result by the number of sentences. Taking the square root of the result and multiplying it by 3. This is how you get SMOG index. Move towards the third. Flash index, designed for adult texts. How we calculate this one? Method is slightly longer. Calculating the average number of words per sentence, multiplying by 1.01, subtracting the result from 206.8. Now this becomes your one result. Keep it aside. Now do second thing. What's second? Calculating the number of syllables per 100 words, multiplying by 0.846. Now this becomes your second result. Now you have two, results, 1 and 2. Now what to do with these two results? Subtracting result 2 from result 1, and there you get the flash index. Now here scale runs from 0 to 100 with increasing ease of readability. And standard writing is described as 17 words per sentence and 147 syllables per 100 words with a resulting index of 64. Our next method, PSK index. This was designed for primary school texts, calculated by finding the average number of words per sentence and multiplying by 0.0778, finding the number of syllables per 100 words and multiplying that by 2.029 and then adding the two results together. Fifth one, this was designed by US Army to test functional literacy. How, do we get it? Calculated by finding the ratio of single syllable words to total words. I repeat, calculated by finding the ratio of single syllable words to total words, multiplying that ratio by 15 and subtracting the results from 20, and you will get, your readability. Now, you have seen that 5 different methods are there to check readability of your text. Out of these 5, very commonly used, as I mentioned before, is Fog Index Guide. You really need a little more time actually to understand, their calculations. Once it's done, understood. I'll give you some, examples to explain some of these, methods in detail. If we go ahead with an example, if I ask you to count the number of sentences, I can do it also with you, like 1, 2, third one starting with 1, 3, and 4. So you can see in this text, in this paragraph, there are 4 sentences. Number of words are 107. Total syllables are 187. And words with more than 3 syllables are 11. Now, for fog index guide, we need three things. Total number of sentences, total number of words, number three, total number of hard words. Now, these three. The formula is take the average number of words per sentence. So what you're going to do, you are going to divide total number of words by total number of sentences. That is your result 1. Number 2, divide hard words, total number of hard words by total number of words. And there you get the average of, total number of hard words, in the paragraph. Add these two and then multiply it, by 0.4. So this is how, you get the readability of your text. My dear students, I'll leave you here today in this lecture, and in my next lecture, I'll explain you further about the readability, formula, and how to, calculate the readability with a little more detail. And then, of course, we'll move, further, and of course, we'll discuss other characteristics of, good writing, like conciseness, like concreteness, and coherence and correctness. I'm sure you enjoyed today's lecture, and I expect from you that, you sit down sometime, and go through some, extra, material as well given by your university, and, clear your concepts. With this, take care of yourself. See you next time with qualities of good writing. Bye-bye.